poor are getting cut in Medicaid and others, and the rich are benefiting.
Marjorie Taylor Greene says she didn't even know about a part of the bill. Why would the entire Freedom Caucus vote for the bill and then come back after the fact and say, oh, this is a terrible bill?
We've got back-to-back CNN panels to start today with, as we now will jump into them discussing the tax increase bill Trump is forcing through Congress that raises taxes on the working class and gives handouts to the wealthy. So if you can, leave us a like on the video, helps us out a ton, lets us know you enjoy the content, and let's see what we can add to the discussion.
Is the budget itself immoral and unjust when it comes to taking from the poor and giving to the rich, redistributing the wealth available to the poor, because the poor are getting cut in Medicaid and others, and the rich are benefiting. It may not be a vicious, callous thing, but these are the effects and consequences. So it's interesting that the richest man in the world, using biblical language, which Jesus is talking about love of money, is the very thing that gets in the way of love of God.
I'm not sure that Elon is concerned about the cuts.
I know Elon didn't say that.
No, he didn't say what I said, because I'm talking about priorities.
He wants more. If it were up to him, he would cut a lot more.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't go without mentioning, Elon Musk is only angry here because 1, he wants more cuts, and 2, because it doesn't codify his Doge cuts, and he doesn't want it to be a complete failure that hits his reputation, despite the fact it's already a complete failure. He only cut $67 billion out of a proposed goal of $2 trillion, and we also know for a fact that he wasted $7 million taxpayer dollars on, if not much more, all for the cuts he found, none of them being waste, fraud, or abuse, to just not even be codified. These people just want more programs to be cut from the poor than the trillions they're already taking from the poor, just so they can fit in deeper corporate tax cuts, a higher AMT, bigger tax deductions for the rich. I mean, it's genuinely immoral. It's also just economically inefficient. Basic economics would state that you want a high velocity of cash to grow the economy, and all data indicates a higher cash velocity in the middle class than in the wealthy. So why would you funnel money out of the middle class?
I believe there will be more spending cut, but at the end of the day, there's going to be some compromise.
They have to cut, though, Joe. I just don't know how it's possible to balance this thing, looking at projections over the next several decades, to not have some pretty extreme cuts. There's going to be a lot of pissed off people, Abby, if I'm being honest, but it's the only way to balance the budget.
Nothing has eliminated the deficit and its effect on sort of the economy more than economic growth over the last decades. The total spend on the Vietnam War was $168 billion. That's half of what HUD spends today, right? So just general economic growth down the road. This bill does that.
I know that I'm supposed to be the dumb lefty that rejects economics 101, but I love that I know more about basic economics than all of these MAGA clowns combined. So let me explain this really simply for you. Economic growth does aid the deficit, but not just because it's economic growth. It's because it allows for more taxation. Economic growth indicates a higher exchanging of cash between hands. It creates more revenue through more means of taxation, which bridges the gap between spending and revenue. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about velocity of cash and increasing that in your economy. Velocity of cash is just the amount of times that cash changes hands between business and buyers. Every time money changes hands, it can be taxed additionally. This allows for more economic growth without the need for the artificial inflation, the spending of government revenue to artificially inflate it or substitute that as tax dollars, right? It's allowing your dollar to fill the space of $10, $20, $100 in terms of taxation. Also, again, this bill raises taxes for anyone making $51,000 a year or less, which I think is $12,000 higher than what the average American makes. So the majority of Americans will not be getting a stimulus. They'll be getting a tax burden placed on them so the wealthy can get the stimulus.
Marjorie Taylor Greene says she didn't even know about a part of the bill. She says on AI that violates states' rights. Eric Swalwell, a Democrat, responds, "You have one job, to read the effing bill." Whatever happened? Whatever happened to that? I mean, literally, they used to shut down the House over this issue.
Is not that much. A 1,000-page bill is not.
I thought it was 1,100 pages. 1,100 pages.
Rather, when you have staff that do nothing but analyze these documents, that shouldn't be too much to have a good understanding. But are you going to remember every single component of the bill? Of course you're not.
Why would Scott Perry
So how many
vote
of
for
them
the
read the
bill?
bills?
Why would the entire Freedom Caucus vote for the bill and then come back after the fact and say, oh, this is a terrible bill now that Elon has said that?
Well, go ahead.
Because I mean, I think Elon Musk opened the door for now Republicans, for it to be okay to criticize the bill. He's now going out there and saying, you know, this is one of Trump's biggest allies. I don't know if you saw Speaker Johnson, but he started off his statement, well, I disagree with my friend, Elon Musk. Everybody's worried about Elon Musk. He is the...
Two things here. Hilarious how inept Republicans are at governing. Marjorie Taylor Greene literally admitting she didn't read the bill before she voted yes is just peak cult behavior. She's not even ashamed to admit that she blindly follows Trump. That should be scary and alarming. But it also shows another way they operate, which is to take no culpability for their actions no matter what. They vote against a Democratic bill and then they brag about the massive investment it brings their district as if it's their accomplishment, and vice versa. Vote for a bad Republican bill, then virtue signal about how it hurts Americans, because at the end of the day, these people only value the dollars their donors give them. They only value you and your votes as much as it keeps them popular enough or a sure bet enough in the elections that the donors give them the dollars. Glad I could figure that out for you.